Welcome to the second WebCT editing video tutorial for OLIT 483. In this tutorial we're going to utilize a template that is in our lesson, and from that we'll sort of look at how to start the editing process in WebCT. So the first thing, once you've logged into WebCT, is to go to our temp class. Once you're into our demo class with all of our online lessons, you can click into your demo lesson by finding your name. Remember to please leave everybody else's lessons alone and only author in your online lesson. I'm going to start out in teach mode. Remember, you can click the teach toggle up there at the top. And I'm going to click into my online lesson by just clicking my name here. Now when I do, if you look up in the table of contents, and I'll just pull this out a little bit, we see Module 1 template. Everybody's online lesson has a template at this point. It's the same template that I use each week or each bi-weekly for our OLIT 483 modules. What does it have right now? It has a room for a title, a subtitle, and then it has some different sections. And this is just some nonsense Latin that we use as web designers to be space fillers. We also have this column over here in our OLIT 483 class. That's sort of what is due this, during the learning module, etc. So from this template, you can start to think about how you would like to fill in your own online lesson, how you would like to break it up into sections. Remember, every online lesson does need to have an overview page, and this is going to be sort of the place where you orient your learners on where to start and how to navigate your learning module. You don't have to use the template that I provide for you, but it's a good place once again to start to learn how to use the editing functions in WebCT. So now that you've seen this page, let's go over into Build View and we'll take a look at what we need to do to change some of the text here and start to fill in different information from what's the generic stuff that's on the template. I'm going to click into Build mode. And when I do, it takes me back to our main page for this course, and I'm going to click on my lesson again, and it's going to take me to this view. Now, what does this tell me? It tells me right now that there's one element in this lesson, and that is the Module 1 template. And from here, I can click on the drop-down menu for this template, and I get a number of options. The one I'm going to choose is Edit Properties, and that's going to allow us to edit the template itself. So when you're on this page, you're able to edit one of the files that is associated with your online lesson. The first thing I'm going to do is edit the title. The title is what shows up in the table of contents for your online lesson. So right now it says Module 1 template. What I'm going to do, in my courses I call it an overview. I'm going to give it a name like Start Here. You can name it anything you like, your overview page, but it's often good practice to put something like Start Here or Begin Here so that learners know where to start when they first click into a learning module. So now if I click Save, you can see that the title's changed here. I'm going to click over into Teach View and take a look at my class again, and notice that the name of my file changed, and it's now Start Here. I'm going to click back over into Build mode, and now let's actually change some content. I'm going to click in my lesson again. I'm going to go to Edit Properties, and we're back where we just were. The page itself is under this area called Content, and if you look in this menu here, what you're going to see is a lot of HTML code. Now don't worry if you're not familiar with HTML code. We're going to use this HTML creator up here, and that'll enable us to use a view called WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. If you are familiar with HTML, you can copy and paste code right in here. You can edit code right in here. But let's look at this HTML creator. Click on that. Takes a moment to load. Now by default it opens up into a very small view, and I find that this would be almost impossible to actually edit in. So the first place to start, oh, and note down here, WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get. If you click on source view, that'll show you your HTML, once again if you want to use code. In our editor we have a number of toolbars up here, and at the very bottom is this little window right here. This is an important one. It's called frame window mode. When you click on it, it pops the editor out into a new window, and I'll pull this down, and I'm going to grab the corner here and I'm going to expand this window out. And it's nice because it now allows me to see all of the page in a larger view that I can actually edit. So what are we seeing? Well, we're seeing the WYSIWYG, and unfortunately what you see is what you get doesn't always translate pages as well as we would hope. Meaning that on our template we have a nice two-column view, and it's not showing up in the WYSIWYG. What it does is, if I scroll down here, note that this stuff over here is the column, and this stuff up here, stuff up here is the left column, and this stuff down here is the right column. This would be, that area with, what's due this week, etc., etc. So let's do a little bit of editing, and then we'll look back at our lesson itself, and that'll enable you to sort of get your feet. All I'm going to do is click on the title right here and change it, and note that we have all of these tools that are sort of similar to the kind of tools that you would find in Word: bold, italic, underlined. This is the font color, etc. We'll play around with these more in a minute, but right now I'm just going to change the name of my title. I'm going to call this now I hope you come up with a better title than this. There's a trick too. Sometimes I find that if I delete everything in, say, this subtitle area, and then type in my subtitle, the spacing comes up weird. So I often like to, when using WYSIWYGs, select everything but the first letter, and then type in my subtitle. And then I go back and I erase that last little letter that I saved there. Sometimes that fixes the spacing, or it helps the spacing. I'm going to change this Greek, and I'm going to put heading 1, and I'll erase this. And I'll get rid of all of this. Or rather, I'll get rid of this here. And you notice I'm just typing, replacing text. I can do some actions like highlighting an area of text and making it bold, or making it italics just by clicking here. I can center text or align it to the left or the right by highlighting it and then clicking on those buttons themselves. So I've done a bit of editing. I changed the heading name, I changed the title and the subtitle, I changed one of the section's text. When I'm feeling happy with that, I can close this WYSIWYG here. And what I have to be sure to do is click Save. So I'm going to click Save here. And now I'm going to go back into Teach View and look at my lesson. And note that now I have my title, my subtitle, the heading's been changed, the text that I entered, the section that I bolded. So recall that we had the left-hand column, and then in WYSIWYG mode we had to scroll all the way down to the page to see the right-hand column. Let's go back into our editor and now edit up some of this right-hand column just so you can see the effect. So I'll go back into build mode, and I'll click on my lesson, and I'll click on my file and say edit properties. I'll enable my HTML creator. I'm going to click on this button here so I can get the bigger editor, and I'll pull that down so we can see it, and I'll make it larger so I can actually read what's in here. Now once again, this is sort of the area that I've already edited. This is the stuff that the generic stuff that just came with the template. As I scroll down, once I get into this gray area, I know that that's that right-hand column. So I've just gone in here and I've changed some of the actions in this bullet list. I'll leave the second bullet list alone. All I did was just change I just replaced the text. So once I'm happy with the text that I've replaced, I'm going to close this. Once again, I'm going to go down here and remember to hit save, otherwise you'll lose the changes you just made. And now I'm going to go into teach mode and take a look at the changes I made. I'm going to click on the lesson itself. And here we go. The right column areas are now changed. And note that all I did was replace the text that was here. If I wanted to go back in and select this area in the editor and unbold it or delete it, I could. Doing straight text replacements in the template are a good way for you to start to understand how the editor itself works, how you need to then hit save and click over into teach mode to actually view the changes that you've made, and that'll sort of give you your bearings as how to use the editor itself. In the next video tutorial, I will show you how to copy and paste in the HTML code so that you can get a fresh version of this template. Sometimes while you're experimenting, when you're starting with working with an editor like this, you might overwrite something that messes up the template. So I want you to be able to create a new template if you like. See you in the next tutorial.